Hello, how you guys doing? So, I want to check out something really important with Typhon Ephemeros. I didn't get her in a gacha, so it's kind of bruh. So I will brush over her skills really briefly, because I mean, many other people will see more in depth. But basically, she's a triple buster pretender, AoE in area buster as well. And I want to address some of the things because she has some interesting gimmicks going for her. But first, the first skill is basically invincibility, uh, 2 times for 3 turns, attack 20% attack self for 3 turns, and 20% buster self for 3 turns. This ends up being quite good because in combination with her third skill, she has the 20% attack up for the party, so it goes up to 40% attack to self and 20% buster. A lot of buff for attack. But other than that, she has a 30% NP charge and 20% charge for the party. So a 50% self. Good as well. And this is an interesting gimmick going on for her. And this, I will come back to this when we talk about her noble phantasm. And then the second skill is just a targetable overcharge up and crit up to 30%, and she generates stars as well. It's a pretty decent, and you can see clearly that her kid fits well with multicore. And her passive, let me address her passives before, because it's kind of funny. More noble phantasm damage and crit damage. This is kind of amazing when you think about this. And the classic 5% NP per turn that so many extra classes are having right now. And another interesting thing that is gonna add as well, she has more chances of getting debuff, which we'll add later. Which comes to the noble phantasm. It's a regular AoE buster damage, gets more NP damage on her overcharge effect, 10% per overcharge level. This is not common. I mean, usually you start with like a 20% NP up, and then you increase overcharge level 5% per level. But this time you start at a low 10% and go 10% per level, which is interesting because if you manage to get 5 levels, you get a 50%, which is kind of chunky, and it's super hard to get to 5 levels, but just as a bonus. This is where it gets interesting. She has a cause more burn on the enemy, yada yada. This is cool and all, but she has a universal trait. But universal trait that gets you increased by the number of negative buffs you have in yourself. But sadly, she only has the third skill that causes curse to herself. I mean, to the party. So she can, by herself, only get 10%. 10% on this universal thing, right? So there are other things. I'm not going to address CE because there are some old CEs that give some debuffs. But I want to show you some buffs, because of course there are some bosses that gives a lot of debuffs on you, but I want to address some characters that give some debuffs to you that you might consider applying to your buff. For example, Caesar still have the defense reduced to the target, right? Yeah, it's to the target, right? Just so I was not confused. Caesar crit up is an interesting one to give a debuff, which by consequences gives 10% NP for her. We have Lubu as well, but it's the same defense down, but it's the same defense down. We have Tezcatlipoca that gives invincibility block. We have, what is her name? 9 Tattoo Liz, which gives a debuff resistance. Debuff resistance down? Yeah. We have Vango, which gives 1 stack of curse. And we have Knocknadia, which is an interesting one. Knocknadia gives skill seal and art block. And since she's a triple buster and the Noble Phantasm is a buster, it doesn't affect that much, in my opinion, if you want to do this as some specific things. And I'm pretty sure there's probably some more. I mean, I'm doing some quick updates here so you can check what you can do. But there's another interesting thing to check it out. Her bouncy. I will not show the lore here. I don't know if the lore of the bouncy is here, but her bouncy, it's quite interesting. For example, NP 30%, which is cool, and trigger skill like a normal attack. A trigger on normal attack. Every time you hit a normal attack, you get a 10% critical damage up, and you curse yourself for 3 turns. That's actually kind of funny, right? Because with this, you can take advantage with, for example, a composition with Ciel and BB Summer to curse yourself many times and buff your Noble Phantasm level until the limits. And thank you so much, Driver, for this bullshit. Anyway, so yeah, you can even buff really hard her Noble Phantasm universal trait. Maybe if just for the fun, you know, maybe it's not really that worth it, because, like, for example, there are some C's that comes with debuffs, but like with the merits, I'm sorry, but still, Black Rail probably still a better trait to carry. But I'm pretty sure there are more things to test. Sadly, I don't have her, so I can't test too much. So I just wanted to brush over this interesting mechanic that she has. So yeah, hopefully, good luck on getting her. More luck on getting her than me. And because she looks interesting. We have only 2 Ascensions unlocked. And of course, they are the T's that we'll be able to use to get another skin. And the skin it's basically how Epsilon looks like. Epsilon, if you don't know the event, is the white girl, is the white version of Typhon Ephemeros. Okay? But good luck with her. Good luck in her gacha. Thanks so much for joining. And see you on the next live stream or the next animation. Who knows when the next animation is going to happen. But thanks so much. Bye bye. Good luck. And see you next time.